Back at it again, and it seems the walls are closing in. A lot of things are being discovered right now. That's what we're going to be diving into today. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. Please make sure you are still subscribed to the channel too. I've been unsubscribed from certain channels, so make sure you're still subscribed here with your notifications still turned to all, and it hasn't been switched. All right. And if you would like to help me out even further with the YouTube algorithm, of course, and get this video out to more and more folks, watch this video to the very end. It helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, let's dive in.
IRS whistleblower hearing is still underway on Capitol Hill. We will continue to monitor it. Welcome to The Five, everyone. I'm Greg Gutfeld, along with Judge Jeanine Pirro, Jessica Tarloff, Jesse Waters, and Kennedy. It's called The Five. The Hunter headache getting worse for the White House. A second IRS whistleblower coming forward and testifying before Congress right now. Joseph Ziegler revealing his identity for the first time and confirming that the Biden DOJ cooked the books in the Hunter tax probe, stonewalling steps that may have led to President Biden.
It appeared to me, based on what I experienced, that the U.S. Attorney in Delaware in our investigation was constantly hamstrung, limited, and marginalized by DOJ officials as well as other U.S. attorneys. I still think that a special counsel is necessary for this investigation. Assigned prosecutors did not appear to follow the normal investigative process, slow-walked the investigation, and put in place unnecessary approvals and roadblocks from effectively and efficiently investigating the case. A number of times we were not able to follow the facts.
Prosecutors instructed investigators not to ask about the big guy or dad when conducting interviews.
What? So you couldn't even ask about the big guy, huh? Couldn't ask. I wonder why that is. You know, I don't know exactly, right? I got to say that because, of course, I don't have any stone cold hard evidence of it, but we can all speculate. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what 2 + 2 is. It's 4. If it walks like a duck and is quacking like a duck, it's probably a duck, right? Probably, more than likely. So, you know, I really don't see the positive outcome from all of this in terms of the Bidens. I don't see it. The Bidens, there's no shot. I'm almost convinced at this point because, like I said, the walls are closing in. There's no shot that Democrats allow Joe Biden to step on stage versus Trump. Maybe that's why they're going after Trump so hard, because I just heard that they're going to indict Trump on J6 charges, which I don't understand that one because he literally said peacefully protest, if I remember a statement, right? Those aren't, I don't think that's an exact quote, but he basically said go peacefully protest. So I don't understand where that one's coming from. I don't know. Anyway.
Investigators were not allowed to follow up on WhatsApp messages from Hunter Biden's Apple iCloud backup, where he suggested he was sitting next to his father.
Ziegler also laid out how Hunter was writing off hookers in rooms for his drug dealer while partying in L.A., and these guys weren't allowed to look into it.
Hunter Biden allegedly falsely claimed business deductions for payments made to the Chateau Marmont, a hotel room for his supposed drug dealer, sex club memberships, falsely referenced on the wire as a golf membership, hotels he was blacklisted from, and a Columbia University tuition payment for his adult daughter. All of these items were used to support the willfulness element for felony tax evasion. These false deductions claimed by Hunter Biden caused a false return to be prepared that underreported his total income by approximately $267,000 and a loss to the U.S. Treasury of $106,000.
Now, even though the whistleblowers were called the IRS A-team, Democrats still wound up attacking their integrity.
We can conclude that this Inspector Clouseau-style quest for something that doesn't exist has turned our committee into a theater of the absurd, an exercise in futility and embarrassment.
Seems to be a new.
Why does Raskins wear that on his head? Is there something going on, some medical condition? I'm genuinely curious. Like, I honestly don't know. So let me know in the comment section, please.
Level of hypocrisy here.
We are here today because Donald Trump is exerting an influence campaign. I know the American people are confused.
You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up because Donald Trump. It's always got to circle back to Donald Trump. That is why I am so convinced. And I've seen it across social media. As a matter of fact, I just saw a video yesterday, a short clip of somebody even praising, right? Which is I don't see that often anymore. Praising Ron DeSantis. Like, yeah, Ron DeSantis is doing a great job. Ron DeSantis will be president, and it was like this buildup. I was like, oh, wow, maybe the tide is turning for Ron DeSantis. So of course I watched it, even though y'all know my feelings about Ron DeSantis. I'm not a fan, not a fan at all. I don't think he should ever be president. I'll take Vivek in 2028 over Ron DeSantis. But it was like this build up to where like I thought like he was, okay, he's a fan of Ron DeSantis this year. And he said in 2028, because in 2024, I want Donald Trump. And he went in this whole long list of things. And I was like, wow, this is actually incredible. And I definitely agreed, not on the Ron DeSantis part, but on the Uncle Trump part. I might turn it into a YouTube short. So be looking out for that. But I'm so convinced that Trump is the guy. He's the guy. Because time and time again, they find somehow, some way to blame it on Uncle Trump, of course. It's like a default. It's like de facto at this point. Like they automatically have to blame it on Trump somehow, some kind of way, right? And then they just continually attack him over and over and over again. The only reason why someone or some group of people would do that is because they fear him. That's it. There's no other reason why. Just saying.
Donald Trump is exerting an influence campaign.
I know the American people are confused because we're all confused what we're doing here.
I'm not confused.
Nothing this majority has claimed about the president or his family has merit.
Evidence confuses them. Ziegler also made it crystal clear that he's not some right-wing stooge.
Although I do have my supporters, others have said that I am a traitor to the Democratic Party and that I am causing more division in our society. I implore you to consider that if you were in my position with the facts as I have stated them, ask yourself if you would be doing the exact same thing. I kind of equate this to experience and feelings I encountered when coming out. It was honestly one of the hardest things I ever had to go through.
Judge, this is I think what's so infuriating about this is what you're seeing is exactly what the Democrats falsely accused Republicans and Donald Trump of doing. The only difference here, this is actual evidence and testimony from people who had to face the evidence and deal with the DOJ and the FBI.
We learned a couple of things today. We learned, number one, that the target was tipped off the night before. Okay, we also learned that although Jamie Raskin really wants this to be about investigators versus prosecutors and never really agreeing, according to these whistleblowers, the prosecutors and the investigators did agree, and it was the DOJ that scuttled the plans to indict for a felony. Also, we learned that every time they needed to do further investigation, which they would have done in any normal case, they weren't allowed to do so. They weren't allowed to speak to Hunter's kids. They weren't allowed to ask questions about the big guy, as you just heard. And it was all about roadblocks and slow walking. But I want to commend these whistleblowers. First of all, these whistleblowers have nothing to gain and everything to lose. But they brought their A game. And there was nothing that the Democrats said that touched anything in terms of credibility and their expertise. And finally,
Facts. Yeah. She's 100% on point with that. They have nothing to gain from this, but everything to lose, right? And, I feel for the guy that was just up there speaking, because he's got to eat. He's got to have a roof over his head. That stuff's not free. As much as people want to say, money isn't everything, it actually, in reality, is. Money is kind of everything, right? The roof over your head, the food you eat, the clothes on your back, the water you drink, the electricity you use, the gas you use, the car you drive, like everything around us revolves around money. It doesn't just pop out of thin air. I mean, I wish it did, right? I wish it did just thin air, Hey, glass of water, free 99. It ain't free. That ain't free. Electricity coming through the sockets. Boom. Oh, yeah. You know, that's not free either, right? So I definitely do feel for him because that has to be a scary situation. I know he compared it to coming out and everything. And you would think that Democrats would be sympathetic to someone like that, right? Because that's what they always preach and what they always push, you know, love and acceptance. And in this situation, you see Democrats not being so loving and not so accepting of an individual who's telling you their experience. But you see Republicans being accepting and listening and loving. Kind of funny how that works, isn't it? They always say Republicans are the hateful ones. And no, we're not. I don't hate anybody. Why would I hate this man because he's allegedly gay? Like, why would I? I have no reason to. You know, like that's foolishness. That's foolishness. But of course, that's what they have to paint us as to try to win over folks. Unfortunately, it's crazy.
Now, when you hear about ridiculous things like, you know, Hunter taking a deduction for a hotel room for his drug dealer, then we found out that Hunter took a deduction for his father. A business deduction for a hotel room. I guess maybe they were in business together. And then finally a sex club, and he called it a golf club he took a deduction for. And, you know, when he was with Rosemont Seneca, the whole idea, he didn't take income, but he took something as a loan when there was no promissory note, there was no repayment, there was no, you know, interest charge. It was just a different way that they could treat the taxes. And of course, it was part of his scheme to defraud the government. So this president wants 87,000 IRS agents with guns, no less, to make sure that everybody pays their fair share unless it's Hunter Biden or the Biden family. And finally, let me just say that apparently Ziegler said between 2014 and 2019, there was $17 million in foreign money that the Bidens got.
So, Kennedy,
hello.
hookers, drugs, sex clubs.
My weekend is full. You're absolutely right. Thank you so much for asking. But, you know, I'm making notes as the judge is talking. I'm like, remind my accountant to change the name of things to avoid any suspicion. But there is so much here. And what really upsets me is this overly emotional conflation. And you've got people on the committee who refuse to take apart or question these points, which, you know, it might be convenient if this is a basis for prosecution or investigation for an opposing party when they are back in power. But instead, you know, their dismissal of it, all that means is Republicans, you know, they can dismiss anything they want when it is a Republican child of a president who is accused. And, you know, it's so obvious here that they don't have a counter argument because they wouldn't be talking about things like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, which I think is actually really offensive because, you know, when you don't have facts to go to or you don't have the ability to really question and examine those facts, then you go to something that is so completely emotional, not realizing that, you know, there is no mutual exclusivity here.
That's a good point, Jesse. It's like they're not really disputing the testimony because of the witnesses and the amount of evidence, hundreds and hundreds of pages. So you have accusations of it's a theater or it's Inspector Clouseau, when it's actually the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Or it's Uncle Trump's fault.
I used to hate the IRS, and now I love them.
Good for you.
I can't add much to what the judge said. She nailed it, but at every turn, they blocked the laptop. They blocked search warrants. They blocked the seeking of testimony from the Biden family. They stymied every effort to ask the Biden family questions and investigate Joe Biden. And then we find out that this guy Garland lied to Congress. And Garland has obstructed justice. So right there, he should be impeached. I didn't know this, but this guy, Mr. X, great name. Mr. X, he wasn't told to go look into Hunter. He stumbled upon Hunter when he was looking into some international porn investigation and noticed that Hunter was buying escorts and Hunter was using his bank as basically an escort slush fund and his corporate bank account as an escort slush fund. That sets alarm bells off with tax investigators that something's fishy. That's when he looked into it. And then he tried to bring the case to Washington, D.C., and they moved the case from D.C. to Delaware. And the minute it gets to Delaware, everything goes wrong. The tires start flying off, the buttons stop working. They drag this thing out like crazy. Now, I just remember when they tried to nail Trump for obstructing a crime that he didn't commit. Remember they wanted to charge him with obstruction? And he handed over every single document. They interviewed him. They interviewed his son, his daughter, his son-in-law. They threw his campaign manager in jail. They spied on his campaign. They use every prosecutorial tool in the toolbox to nail the guy, and there was no crime there. And then you look at how this was handled. They get tipped off. They're told, no, you can't talk to this person. No, you can't talk to this person. They run out the statute of limitations on that felony. They had him on three or four felonies. He didn't even pay taxes on the bereavement income. So they got to go after Garland. This guy's cooked.
I was in the green room with you earlier, Jessica, and when the media labeled the...
So I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to all of this, and I'd be the first to admit, okay? I'd be a fool to sit here and act like I know it all. I don't think it's a bad thing to want to learn. But when it comes to Garland, right, what's the process for getting him out of his position? Is it first impeachment, then he's found guilty, and then he has to leave? Is that the whole process? Or can Congress just be like, yeah, we have hard evidence that you actually lied. We'll take a vote now, here and now. Is that what's the actual process, and what's the likelihood of that actually happening? Like, are we getting a little too giddy about a bunch of nothing here? Because I want to be realistic, right? I think it's great that all of this is being called out. Of course, it always should be. But in terms of actually doing something, as far as now, how relevant is that? How realistic is that, I should say? Let me know in the comment section for my folks that are a little more knowledgeable on that subject there. All right. But as I was saying before, man, the walls are closing in on the Biden alleged crime family, because there's a lot of new information that we're learning. Obviously, and Trump has been proved innocent in the Russia hoax, Russia, as Trump would say, right? But now they're just throwing anything and everything at Uncle Trump to see what possibly sticks, what they can possibly get to stick. And it's just absolutely crazy. And I'm so happy, one, that they're doing it, right? Because it's waking a lot of people up to the truth of what's going on. I can't tell you guys how many videos I've come across where people are like, man, now I see what Trump was saying. Man, this is getting crazy. They're going after this man left and right. Something's off here. Right? They're going after him so much and so hard that people who weren't even into politics, who weren't even fans of Uncle Trump, who didn't like him at all, are now being like, whoa, wait a minute, something's off here. Something's off here. I've never seen anything like this. I think I might have to support Trump in 2024. Like, I'm seeing these videos. Y'all know I'm not lying. I've showed you videos in the past, and I may do another one here soon of, a compilation of different people that you wouldn't expect actually supporting Trump. Because I've come across a ton of them, a ton. I mean, it's getting insane at this point. It's insane. I think ultimately all of this is definitely going to backfire on them in a major, spectacular way. Because I think that they think that the more that they throw these indictments at Trump, one, they'll find something that possibly sticks. And two, is that they think that it's going to turn off a bunch of people from voting for him, because they're going to be like, man, this guy's got to be a criminal. They've indicted this man and tried to throw him in jail for X, Y, and Z. Like, he's got to be a criminal. I think that's what they think. But in actuality, when I look through social media and obviously the polls, it's the opposite. People are saying, hold on, wait a minute, something's off. Something's off. Like, I wasn't a Trump fan before, but I'm definitely going to be in 24. What do y'all think, man? What do y'all think? Are we going to see the Bidens get arrested soon? Or are we going to have to wait until 2025 when Uncle Trump steps in office? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.